This lesson deals with muscles in association with bones in anthropology. So there are three types of muscles. Smooth, which is involuntary, which means that we don't have conscious control. It's all unconscious. And looking at the structure, there's no striations. Cardiac muscle, which makes up the heart, and there's some striations there. And again, it's involuntary. We don't have conscious control. And skeletal muscle, which is voluntary, so we can control it. And the muscle would appear striated. So the skeletal muscles are what we're focusing on a lot here because they're the ones that are going to be attached to the skeleton and by tendons, remember that connective tissue, and move the skeleton. If we look at muscles a little closer, the unit that actually makes up the muscle is called a sarcomere. So if we took this muscle, and this would be, I don't know, say from the bicep, we took the bicep and we zoomed in, we would see lots of these tubule type structures. And then we blow it up even more, and each one of these is called a sarcomere. And then if we look at the sarcomere even closer, we can see that there are different parts of it. And what happens is the sarcomere is going to either relax or contract, and that's what's going to help move our muscles. So remember that muscles work in pairs. If we're thinking about the bicep, when it contracts, the tricep is going to be relaxed. When the tricep under the arm becomes contracted, it pulls the arm down and the bicep relaxes. So they work in pairs, one to pull the arm up and one to pull the arm down. So we also need ATP, okay, or energy, in order for muscles to contract. And part of why rigor mortis happens is that there's no energy in order for these muscles to contract. And remember that ATP is going to be produced from the process of cellular respiration that occurs in the mitochondria of the cell. So the borders of a single sarcomere are called Z-lines. So this is one sarcomere, all right, and you have these borders called Z-lines. And the middle line is the M disc, okay, middle for M. And actin is considered to be a thin filament. So you have these two main filaments, actin and then myosin. And what's going to happen is they're going to overlap. So if you were to take your fingers and your hands and kind of push them together, your fingers overlap, and that's what happens when a muscle contracts. And then they come apart, and that's when it relaxes. So where they overlap is going to be called the H zone. The one part of the sarcomere that does not contract is the A band. Okay, so that's this section here. So it actually does not contract. Um, and then what happens is the myosin head is actually going to pull the actin filament, and that is going to cause the muscle to relax. So remember the main points here. Actin is thin filament, myosin is the thick filament, and then you need ATP that's produced from the mitochondria and cellular respiration to cause muscle contraction.